Thank you for joining us today on the Sisterhood Leadership Podcast with Dianne Wilson, recorded live from Orange County, California. If you'd like to subscribe, click on the link below, diannewilson.com, and we'll see you next week.
Hi, I'm Dianne Wilson. Welcome to our brand new Sisterhood Leadership Podcast. We've been meeting as a sisterhood for over 10 years, and recently we were talking amongst ourselves as leaders on what we could do in this very different season and very different era in the life of our church. 10 years ago, most of the women in our sisterhood were either not married yet, no kids, or they had grown kids and time. So we were able to meet every Friday morning. Well, recently I was looking at how many people were able to come on a Friday morning and how many weren't. And it just seemed like crazy for us to not make some changes so that we could reach more women and help more women develop in their leadership. So we're excited about this new leadership podcast, including different leaders every single week. We're having a conversation. There's going to be questions asked and answered. And my heart is to make everything practical, because leadership has got to apply to our real life, not just in theory. And so thanks for joining us. And we really hope that you enjoy this month as we focus on, of course, our Bible, which we love. We call it the Bible Book Club. And Bible in a year is amazing. This is my 17th year around the block. And of course, this month we're focusing on one of my resources, It's Time, and this is a leadership book. So thanks again for being with us and hope you enjoy. Welcome to our weekly Sisterhood Leadership Podcast. And today I'm so happy to have a very lovely friend with me. This is Shawn Harris. And, we are OC housewives.
Oh.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, when I mentioned that in some settings, I'm asked, "Oh, are you one of the OC housewives?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't know what you mean by one of, but if you're talking about the television show, absolutely not me. But we live here, and this is my community, and I am a wife and a mum, and I live in Orange County, as you do, Shawn, as well." So Shawn and I met through our daughters who went to school together at Cronodoma High School, her daughter Jessie, my daughter Bella, and I really enjoyed meeting Shawn. Interestingly enough, how we met was because Bella was invited to go on a vacation with the Harris family to Maui for a play day. and I'm Australian, and don't mind me, I'm simple.
It was for myself, so that my daughter could stand being with me for a whole week. If
I get
some
it.
distractions, she wouldn't.
I've got to say, when I grew up, I was invited to go to the park. It's like, can your daughter come to the park? I'm like,
know.
Are you? And we spent like an hour on the phone together before we'd even met, and then when we met in person, I just thought, you are the most amazingly beautiful person, so classy, so engaged, and you and your husband, it was actually like really good to meet you. But you're not just an OC housewife like I am, but you're also somebody who has a history in the entertainment industry. Can you just tell us about being Miss Universe 1980?
Wow, a long time ago. It was another life, but it changed my life. I came from a military family, and my dad was stationed in South Carolina when he retired from flying, and my mom got very sick and passed when I was about 8. So I think from that point forward, I always wanted the house to be happy, so I ran around just play acting and being, it was I thought it was my job to entertain and keep everybody happy. And so the things that we did in South Carolina at that time as girls, instead of sports like they do out here, everybody's in some kind of sport. It was a beauty pageant. That's what you did. It was like the rite of passage. Everybody entered beauty pageant.
Southern beauty, right here.
Beauty pageant. So
from the South, right?
Yeah, and so it was a great pastime. And on occasion you'd win some money or you get a scholarship, and so I just started doing that, and I loved it because I was kind of a tomboy and I was really shy, and I missed my mom, and she was known to be very beautiful in her day, and she had done some modeling, and she just had a great sense of style. We grew up in South Carolina, but my mother would walk out looking like she came off of the front of a Vogue magazine. She just had a lot of style. So I think part of that was being in the pageants, being close to women, being around people who, gave me a little sense of how to hold myself, how to, kind of get out of my shell. And so that's how I kind of got into that. And it was really a dare from my brother when I was at Clemson as a nursing student. They had this contest, and he dared me to do it because I had already been through the Miss America pageant that was, you have a talent and all that, and I had not gotten past the Miss South Carolina. I was like first runner-up. And a lady called me one day and said, we're having a Miss South Carolina pageant that goes to the Miss Universe. And I said, what is that? I never heard of it. And I said, she said, well, we need an extra body. We have to have 27. We only have 26 girls. Would you do it? And I said, what do you win? She said, $100, a free weekend at Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which was like, that was Maui, Hawaii. That was Maui. And so I said, sure, absolutely. So I won it. And then a month later, they said, you got to be in the Miss USA. I said, oh, okay, where is it? And won that. And then a month later, I won the Miss Universe. And I literally didn't even read the fine line.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
I'm the last person to have that kind of confidence or feel like I was, at all beautiful. It was really an effort to try to feel beautiful or try to feel like a woman, try to be, have some sense of confidence, because I wasn't. I just really wasn't. That's kind of the thing that people don't really understand about beauty pageants is people don't go into it because they feel so beautiful. I mean, they go into because they want to have a sense of beauty, whether it's inside, whether it's partly wanting to be seen because they feel they're not seen,
And it's competitive.
It is competitive.
There's a winner, and the winner is.
I never thought of myself as competitive, though. I never did. Maybe subconsciously I loved, but it was more about just dressing up, feeling good, feeling like, I had something that I could do well. And
then you won. Amazing. Beautiful. And did you hear Clemson? Just saying. So we've not just got beauty, we've got like brains, and that's...
I didn't finish nursing school, though.
Well, yes, because...
I finished my third year. I had one more year to go.
But the fact that you could have is like... Okay, so let's move on to the other aspect of you that I think is really like very cool, and now we're decades on, but you were a feature person on Baywatch. What was your name?
Jill.
Now, Jill was the coolest because Jill was naturally athletic and she had braids. So when it comes to role models, it's like back in the day watching Baywatch, Jill was the cool one. And like you're Jill.
I'm Jill.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was always terrible at auditions. I auditioned for the part originally, and I had just finished doing this thing called Ocean Quest, which was 5 one-hour shows. It was like the first of its kind, a documentary or docudrama. So I just finished that, and I was really tired of being on the beach, in the ocean. We'd gone all over the place. We'd been in the Antarctic, scuba diving under the ice. It was incredible 18 months, but I was exhausted. So my agent sent me out on this one, and I wasn't really into being near the water. So, and I don't audition well, so I didn't get the part. And they call me one day, like a couple months later, they started production, but the girl they hired to play Jill couldn't swim. So
that's a problem on Baywatch.
I could swim. I couldn't audition.
Out to the buoy.
I wasn't a great actress, and horrible audition. I'd do everything to sabotage myself when I'd walk in the door. Slip on things and make stupid jokes, and so just totally. So they said, "Could you wear a bathing suit?" And I went, "Oh my God, not again. I said, oh, right, I need the job. Yes, okay." So I put the bathing suit on underneath my clothes. I do the audition. It wasn't very good still. But they said, can you go put your bathing suit on and come back in? And I said, I got it on. I just took my clothes off and I stood there, and they go, okay, thank you. Walked out. I'm like, oh my God, that was bad. I should have gone in the room and but it looked like a strip show. I started taking my clothes off. So I was thinking, oh my God, what did I do?
That's actually so not you two, which is very funny.
I just thought it would save time.
That's funny.
I mean,
Okay.
so I got to my car and out ran the wardrobe gal, and she said, "What size are you?" And I'm like, I don't know. I gave her the size.
No, tell us the size. We all want to know what size she was.
It's not the size I am now. I can tell you that.
Was she a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Never been in one in my life. So told her what it was, and then she said, "You got the job. You're gonna have to be here tomorrow morning." I'm like, "Stop eating now." No, I know. Anyway, so that's how I got the job, and it's kind of funny because you don't hear a lot of actors talk about when they got fired from a job or how they got their job, because it's not so, it's to expose our insecurities or the lack of confidence that we
and
have.
Not auditioning well is a thing.
It's a thing. I mean, I can't tell you. So that was how I got it.
That's amazing. I was just thinking about a job I did for Coke back in the day for a brand of like mineral water in Australia called Volvic.
Oh, commercials are the hardest. I always laughed at people. Why don't you do commercials? You make so much money.
Oh, no.
Every actor in the world would like to do them. It pays a lot of money.
It pays a lot of money. Okay,
but it's hard.
No, but I had to drink. I had to play volleyball and then drink this bottle of water, but have my whole mouth over like choking. Anyway, sorry that this is not part of what we're supposed to do. Anyway, I'm just thinking how the real world of that world is
so hard.
It's hard.
And to keep a straight face.
Oh, yeah.
You have to talk about. I have this wrinkle cream. It's just gotten rid of all my. I was 23. Wrinkle cream. Talking about things that is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. I just start to laugh.
No, listen. This is really funny. I'm sorry, sisterhood people. We're just having fun. I did something for Redken once. I love you, Redken, but my hair was too shiny, black shiny, so they put powder to make my hair look dull, so that when they put the So let's talk about let's now talk about why I actually asked you here.
Okay.
And that's to share some wisdom with us, and there are people watching who watch the Keys of Wisdom, and I'm sure you were entertained then, but we're going to leave you with something you can take home, and that's about being an empty nester, because I find myself right now, Beau, one of my twins, who's 23, is about to graduate this weekend, and he lives at home, but that's not going to be, he doesn't want to be here forever, and it would be wrong for him to be here forever. Well, it'd be kind of weird, but... And so I said to Shawn, can you help me? Because you've got two kids who, one has graduated college and is working, one is...
Back east, a long way away.
Back east, Jesse's at Princeton, and so here you are, and you have not got the same amount of laundry, you're not having to do the same kind of groceries. Can you just share some wisdom with us on how to not cave in and to find purpose in this season?
It just depends. I have girlfriends who are like, yay, and I wish I was them. But some people just have a different reaction to it's a kind of loss. It's a loss of a time, and it's a loss of a kind of relationship that you had with your children to them becoming adults, which is, it's all in God's plan, but for us, we want to hang on to things, and nothing's permanent. And that's the hard part is, and I remember a pastor saying, when something changes big time, like a relationship, like the way the relationship becomes, daily to monthly, or maybe even yearly sometimes. It's like a trapeze. It's you're on the trapeze, and you're getting ready to jump onto the next part of your life, but in that area right here, you feel like you're gonna fall. You feel like you may die. I mean, I felt panic attacks. I couldn't sleep. I felt very, very depressed. And depending on probably your childhood and maybe your young adulthood, what happened in your life, all those little things can start to kind of bubble up and become, glaring things you think about again, because your kids kept you so busy and you had such purpose in your life, you could just put that in a little box and put it away.
And loved it.
Yeah.
It was not a resentment.
I love taking care of people. love it. But at some point, I think God wants us to learn how to care for ourselves. Because in learning how to care for ourselves, learning how to find joy in our lives as, God's children, we give our children something to look to and go, look at mom, she's having a blast. She's
happy mummy is everything. Happy daddy, not depressed.
And
not,
kids don't, I learned this from every counselor I've ever been to, and I've been to a lot, very important. If you have something really you can't shake off, you got to get help.
Good advice, yes.
Yeah, you have to get professional help. God doesn't say, do it on your own. That's why we have each other. That's why we have counselors. That's why, mentors are important, and a good friend that you can really be honest with about how you're feeling. It's really, really important.
So when it comes to like yours and Chip's relationship, your husband, I love the fact that you love each other. You've got, your children are beautiful. Your son looks like you, and
Jack.
And Jessie, she's so like
my husband.
Yeah, she's a girl, so doesn't look like a man. She's got this exotic dark kind of complexion, different, just like one of my
you and Bo.
Yeah, me and Bo, and then the girls look like Jonathan. But when it comes to our kids having role model parents who still love each other, it's a little bit rare in this area. There's a lot of family breakdown.
Oh yeah, it happens a lot when kids are gone, when the kids go. A lot.
I was actually given advice. I remember when I don't even know which child it was that was going back to school, because I had 3 away at the same time, going back to college, and I went to see Mai, who has been doing my nails for like 12 years since I've been here. And she said, why are you crying? I said, I miss them. I miss them. And she just looked at me. She said, you have a lovely husband. He's with you. He is all you have for the rest of your life. You need to stop crying. I hugged her.
Simple, good advice, and it only cost you a manicure.
It was like she's right. And the thing is, I love Jonathan. He loves me, and thank God we've got a purpose, because it'd be like, I don't even know you. Like if I had ignored him or just sidelined him because I'm so obsessed with my kids, we'd have nothing. Now, we can't quite enjoy the empty nester season yet, because we do have little London, who's 10, but she's a trooper, she comes along. Yeah. So we've got a couple of minutes left. What advice would you give to some of our mums who've got little kids right now who are kind of thinking, I can't wait for this, the diaper season to finish or the crawling season. Speak to them. And
I think not growing up having a mom was an advantage and a disadvantage. The disadvantage was, of course, I missed having my mom, but the advantage was all the things I missed out on. I realized how important it was to share with my daughter, and selfishly, really, because I got to kind of, do for my daughter what wasn't done for me. And although that doesn't count as therapy, I'm not saying that, it is very healing, So if we can slow down a little bit and know that these days are really long, but the years are really short. Wow. So they wear you out in this period, but go to sleep knowing that one day you won't be exhausted from running around after them. You will really miss that. So slowing down, don't look at your phone so much. I kind of am really glad there was no cell phone when my kids were babies and little.
Yep, same.
I would just really recommend putting that thing down when they're in your presence. There's plenty of time to catch up on things, when they're gone, they're in school, so many hours a day. And just really be with them. There's nothing in the world that can make up for your undivided attention for your children. That's where they get their sense of confidence, to go out in the world
and security.
They do this. I don't know if you've ever heard of this experiment. It just breaks your heart because it's just so apparent. It's called the still face experiment, and a baby will be with the mom, and they do this experiment where they're having this interaction back and forth. The baby makes a noise, and the mommy goes, oh, reaffirming him all the time. And then they say, okay, now still face. And the mother just gets still and looks off to the distance and does not anymore react with the child or give them the feedback that they need. And first you see the child, get, Mommy, here I am, where are you? And then they cry. That doesn't work because she's still doing still face, and then they get despondent like this. They give up.
Okay, that's awful.
That is how quickly they learn who they are. How in a minute.
Okay, so presence is important, engagement is important, affirmation is important. Wow.
Yeah.
We should do this again.
I love it.
Let's
I
get
always
the
love talking
girls.
to you.
We could get Jessie and Bella and have them talk about us. That'd be fun.
And they, as young as they are, they're pretty smart.
Oh.
Those girls,
They're
but still
super
they're little girls, and I find myself expecting. Sometimes your child go from one age to the next, and all of a sudden you say, oh, they're teenagers. Da, 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 da. Yeah, but they're more. If you look at child development, teenagers actually their brains are closer to a 2-year-old than an adult. And that's the other thing I found really helpful is that I loved reading child development books. As a mother, that's your job. Your job is to learn the stages of where they are and not take those stages as a personal affront on something that you've done. Not necessarily. It could be their very necessary stage of separation and things like that. So especially, when they start to the senior year in high school, they get like just awful. And I think it's God's way of preparing you. Thank goodness they're gone, and they're because they get very temperamental and
it's the fight for independence.
Their fight for independence
with
and
zero ability to be fully independent. So it's like, let
and
me
truly,
live my life.
they're scared.
But I need you.
They're scared,
Push,
and they
pull.
don't want to show you that they're scared of leaving because they're telling everybody, "Oh yeah, I'm going 3,000 miles away. Oh, I'm going to Oxford. I'm not going to be home for 2 years." And they're telling everybody this because it sounds really cool, but deep down inside, they're scared.
Yeah. Well, Ben told me that the night we dropped him off in his dorm in Seattle, this is big, tough fighter pilot Ben, that he like sobbed himself to sleep.
Oh yeah.
But thank God he only told me that last year because if he told me right away, I would have gone up there and.
No, he wouldn't want you to be upset. Yeah.
Well, our time's up, but we could talk all day, and let's come back with our kids.
Yeah.
Don't you think
that's a great idea?
And we'll just sit there and let them talk. Anyway, so thanks for being with us, and you have a great week. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today on the Sisterhood Leadership Podcast with Dianne Wilson, recorded live from Orange County, California. If you'd like to subscribe, click on the link below, diannewilson.com, and we'll see you next week.